welcome to Prime Time in the ATL, powered by the Stables Network. I'm your host, Stephanie Stallworth, along with TC, JJ, and Mark Mancini. And you're in here with us on our Monday night. You know, you can follow us start now on Twitter at ATL Prime Sports. You can tweet us on there. We'll talk with you there. We'll talk with you on the telephone, the same number here, 347-205-9631. We're live out here from Atlanta. It's Prime Time in the ATL, talking sports. Tonight we're going to be talking Braves, Falcons, Dogs, and anything you want to chat up out there. TC, JJ, how y'all doing tonight?
Fantastic. How about you?
Wonderful.
Doing great. So we're moving right along into, August already?
The dog days
Summer's moving by.
It is here. I mean, the dog days of summer, as they call it in baseball terms, are right now. And these games mean a lot for September. The Braves are right behind the Phillies. They're a game and a half back. We'll be talking about them. Lots going on. I also want to touch on something that's kind of dear to my heart. One, I want to start off with the saying that at no point should a man ever put a hands on any woman. Period. Just not in any circumstance, unless it's completely self-defense and you're trying to fight for your life. But that's a different circumstance. But anyway, to the Ohio State situation, I don't know. I mean, Urban Meyer didn't do the crime. He may have known. He may have said it's a personal matter. That might have been his opinion. You know, I don't know if he should lose his job, but the thing is, he probably will. And I don't know what kind of world this is where coaches are getting away with doing this for years to come, but it should have been nipped in the butt right on 2015, it sounds like. So there's error in both sides where I see. I mean, it's a crazy world we live in, TC, and that's all I'm going to say about it. I'm absolutely astounded that it's happening at another Big Ten program, such like Ohio State. It just blows my mind what's going on in college sports.
It doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, if this can happen in Ohio State, at Penn State, Michigan State, or wherever, it can happen in any school, any time, any place. Today's a different world. 10 years ago, I would say that Urban Meyer would have no chance of getting fired, but he has probably a 50-50 chance of getting fired. It's when he knew and how much he knew, and when it all comes out, Ohio State will be backed in the corner, and they will have to make a decision. That's basically it in a nutshell. The school's doing its investigation. Usually, to me, when you're being paid, when you're on paid administrative leave, that's code word for buyout. So they could be doing a buyout with him as we speak, or they're continuing to do investigation for a week or so and then make their decision. Tough decision on the Buckeyes. We'll see how it works out, JJ. You know, on the local front, you know, the Braves are 60-48 now. They didn't get their 60th win last year until September 3rd. This team is definitely in the pennant race. They're tied in the loss column. I know they're a game and a half out. They've got an important 4-game series with the Nationals coming up 2 tomorrow on a doubleheader. So, you know, this 4-game series will tell us a lot, but all these games are big at this point. From the Braves' perspective, it's disappointing that the starters have only gone 5 innings apiece the last 2 games, even though, you know, Julio Teheran hit his first career career home run. I'm thinking of Chipper Jones in the Hall of Fame. And then, of course, you saw the unusual double play from Ozzie Albies, the 5-4-2 double play yesterday. His instincts remind me of Derek Jeter, JJ, when Derek Jeter raced out of the shortstop position in the playoff game against the Oakland Athletics, went to the right of the first base bag into foul territory, caught the ball on a flip, and flipped it to the plate to Posada, who nabbed Jason Giambi, Jeremy Giambi's brother, for a crucial out in that American League Division Series. It probably saved the Yankees' season at that point. And Albies, with that instinctive 5-4-2 double play yesterday, most people are just trying to get it over to first to get the runner. He decides to go unconventional and go home. And to me, that was just a gigantic play. He is calm, cool, and I love Acuna leading off with them, the baby Braves in the 1-2 slot.
Yeah, it's exciting to watch. It's fun to watch, and that'll lead us right into our first topic. Stephanie, take it away.
All right, let's talk about the Braves. We've been talking about them here a little bit. Talk about that trade deadline, guys. Now, let me ask you, did the Braves GM, Alexei, do enough? Did he do enough for Atlanta to win the NL East? What do you think, TC?
Well, we really won't know until the last day of September, early of October. I think this pennant race is going to go down to the last day with the Phillies. The Phillies they're the fighting Phillies, and we know why. They're a team that plays a lot of guts and grit, and so do the Braves. I mean, when you break down this trade deadline, you know the Braves acquired Adam Duvall from the Reds. They sent Lucas Sims, Matt Wisler, and Preston Tucker. All three were with the Braves this season, but at the point, they were at AAA. At this point, they were at AAA Gwinnett. Again, the key to me in this deal and getting Duvall is they got a big bat with a lot of power. He'll play against lefties. He'll platoon, and they didn't give up any key prospects at all. The second, they acquired Kevin Guzman, and they have him under control, team control, until 2020. 4 players that they traded for, none of them were the top 10 prospects and it was international slot money. So to me, that was the key. They also did get Darren O'Day's contract. He's out for the season with a hamstring injury. Third move they made, and Snicker hit it. He said the Braves hit on all the boxes. They acquired reliever Brad Brock, again from Baltimore, like they acquired Guzman, and they also acquired Johnny Benners. This is his second stint with the ball club from Tampa Bay. So, this is what the Braves did at the deadline. The key to me is they didn't give up any prospects at all. Now, it's not over. It's not over. There's still players out there that are available. Friars from Detroit just went to the Oakland A's shortly ago, earlier today. That was one of the players that was out there. Matt Harvey's still available from the Reds, but the Braves are going to have to pony up to get him. I don't know if they'll do it. Zach Wheeler, local Atlanta native from the Mets. He's been really hot his last 5 starts. Pitched really well against the Braves this weekend. Let's see if the Mets deal him to the Braves potentially by the August 31st waiver deadline. And also Michael Fulmer, who I still think the Tigers, even though he's on the DL, may try to move him, but that would be a move that the Braves make for the future. I'm only disappointed because they didn't get a big name. They didn't go out and get a Jacob deGrom. Maybe they tried. Maybe they didn't. Maybe the Mets were ready to deal. Maybe they weren't. Maybe the Braves didn't want to give up a lot of prospects. I think their goal was not to give up any of their top 10 prospects. They acquired that. Did they do enough to top the Phillies? I don't know, JJ. The Phillies added catcher Wilson Ramos, Aaron Luke, the left-handed pitcher, and here's a big key for me. They added Asdrubal Cabrera from the Mets, the shortstop, who got a big hit this weekend. It's going to come down to the end. Somebody's going to make a move to possibly win the division in August. Then I think we'll have the better answer to that question, JJ. So I'll say at this moment they didn't. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm gonna say maybe. I'm not gonna say no. Just I'm like you. I can't say no, but I'm leaning towards the yes. I think they may have done enough to might get a wild card appearance, and I think that would be a tremendous leap in the right direction for Atlanta. And I don't think they'd win that wild card game right now because they don't have that ace pitcher. But if they can get to that wild card game, I think that's a success in the eyes of the GMs. You see exactly what TC said, listeners. The Braves made the moves. They acquired the pitching, the relief pitching. They acquired a couple assets. One guy was injured, O'Day, but he can come in. He's some guy that could be a part of the Braves in the near future. Maybe next season, later on next season sometime. So I'm really excited to see what these moves do for the Braves in the back half of the year. You're going to see no more Moylan and Sam Freeman, which is great because they were 2 extremely weak points of the Atlanta Braves bullpen. I'm excited to also see how this Brock guy, finally we figure out how to say his name. I think we were butchering it last week, but Brock is going to be a solid guy in either the 7th or 8th inning there, and a guy that can get that hold for the save for A.J. Minter, who's been on fire right now. So I'm excited to see that. I think it is enough to get to a wild card game, TC, and that nowadays is considered the postseason. So I do think it's enough to get to the postseason. That's the answer to the question. So we'll see if it actually does take hold the way I see it, and I do see the Braves claiming that second or maybe even winning the wild card outright as a first seed.
Well, JJ, that pennant race, to sum it up, nobody's the shortest spot in the National League. Not the Dodgers, not the Diamondbacks, not the Cubs, not the Brewers, not the Braves, or the Phillies.
Not the Phillies.
This is going to come down to the very end regardless, and we'll see how it turns out, Stephanie.
All right. Sounds good, guys. Sounds good. 347-205-9631. 347-205-9631. You're listening to Prime Time in the ATL with Stephanie, TC, JJ, Mark Mancini running things for us from the Stables Network. We're based in the Southeast, down here in Atlanta. I got a few callers. Let's go ahead and say hey to you, to Lou from the Northeast. Hey, Lou. Welcome to Prime Time in the ATL. You're on. What's up?
Thank you, Stephanie. I just wanted to let you know that this is the cell phone I'm using, so if you're wondering, if you don't recognize the number, this is the cell I use when I'm not at home. So I wasn't sure if anybody even knew that I was even calling.
We got you.
Okay. And just a friendly reminder that my hockey show, Shut the Puck Up, is scheduled to return on August 18th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 5:30 p.m. in the West.
And we still love that title.
Lou, what do you got for us?
I wasn't going to make up myself, but I didn't.
Beloved Yankees getting swept by the Red Sox.
Oh, sure. Rub it in, of course. You know, I was hoping that it was going to be a competitive.
Chapman rarely.
Chapman is a bum. Chapman's a bum. I hate to say it.
Lou, I think it's way too early to throw any dirt on the Yankees. Yeah, they may not catch Boston for the division. Yes,
right.
Oakland creeped up on them for the first slot in the wild card, and Seattle's hanging in there. There's just too much season left. You know when the Yankees get their healthy players back, they'll be ready. The only problem is they'll probably be involved in that one-game playoff, and if they lose, Major League Baseball will go nuts seeing a team with 90-something wins go out after the first game, and I believe they'll make a change if the Yankees lose that wild card, and it'll be a best-of-3 next year. But this Yankees team is still in good shape. A weekend doesn't make a season. They can still turn it around. If Boston loses J.D. Martinez in the next week, we're having an entirely different conversation because the team's only as good as their best. What's-his-face got injured there in right field. Judge, what happens if something happens to Martinez next week? It changes the complexion of the race. It's way too soon to throw dirt on the Yankees.
It's not why we lost. It's how we lost last night. I mean, we had a 4-run lead going into the 4-run lead going into the ninth, and we wind up choking, going into extra innings and losing because Chapman is horrible. I mean, he is not Rivera. Rivera is used to close out teams just like that. Well, except for Boston, but Chapman is completely different. He is more capable of blowing leads.
Well,
and he has done that.
Nobody's Mariano Rivera. I'm sorry. It's kind of hard to compare somebody to Mariano Rivera when he's probably the best relief pitcher of all time. I mean, yes, Chapman gave it up yesterday, but you heard J.D. Martinez, Lou. He said everybody, a couple of years ago, Chapman and a few others were throwing 100 miles an hour. He said now everybody's throwing 100, and I've got his timing down, and all I want to do is put it in play and rip away, and he did that. Lou, thanks for calling. We got to go ahead and get to the next caller, Stephanie.
All right, thanks a lot, Lou. Again, the number is 347-205-9631. Give us a call. You can talk live with us out here tonight. Next up on the line, Primetime in the ATL, it is, who do we have next? Let's see. We have, it's you, TT. What's up?
Do we have Chuck on the line?
Oh, we're going to Chuck next. Okay, Chuck, you're up. Chuck from New York. How you doing tonight?
Yeah, how you doing? I'm glad you touched on the Meyer situation. I think people are going to get tired of this stuff pretty quickly because it's getting to the point now where not only in sports, but in sports certainly also, where they're taking people's jobs away without a hearing, just based on rumor, without giving the person a full hearing.
You're darn right.
Just based on public pressure. It's gone to the extreme. This was a friend. It was an assistant coach. He's doing a job. It wasn't child molestation like what you had at Penn State, although, domestic violence is very bad. But in an office, if somebody is having problems with their wife, they're not going to get fired. This stuff is going too overboard, in my opinion. People are going to start getting tired of it. There's always two sides to a story. You have to hear both sides, and we're not getting that in sports or entertainment.
Great call. It's a very strong opinion, and I agree with a lot of that. I think unfortunately with the media and the amount of outlets in the media, there's social media. When you go to the Super Bowl, there's little kids with blog magazines asking professional football players, what do they want to be when they grow up and stuff. So, there's so many various media outlets that get to ask, and it's everybody's under a microscope. And unfortunately, I think that's what brings this to make it seem like a bigger issue. Because I'm with you. In any other workplace, this is not a big deal. But obviously, they're figures of character, and I'm with you. I really think Urban Meyer didn't do it, and who knows if he knows. I'm not a fly on the wall. I can't tell you yes or no. So I don't know. It's a scary situation, but you should never put your hand on a woman. And it's who knows. Great caller. Anything else for us? Any final thoughts?
Well, you're talking about all the media outlets. I agree with you, but that's creating public hysteria before somebody can get a full hearing. And you're talking about somebody's job and reputation.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why it's a very, very it needs to be said. It definitely needed to be said. Great caller. Thank you very much for calling in.
Yeah, thanks for joining us today. That is a tough topic, that's for sure. Definitely a tough topic, but here we are. This is where we are here in 2018 with all this.
It's a very strong opinion, and it's very everybody's wide open. So, great caller. It's whew.
Yeah, great caller. Thank you for sharing that opinion. Appreciate that. If you want to call in, got a line coming free here, 347-205-9631. 347-205-9631. Guys, let's head to the next topic, talking Falcons. Question, will the Falcons' Julio Jones have a breakout season and score 10 touchdowns, what do you think? Let's go to JJ.
I'm going to have to say it's going to depend on his quarterback. I know I've said this stat over and over again. Matt Ryan in the red zone last year was a lot lesser quarterback than in any other part of the field, and that's the most important part of the field. We'll see what that does, because remember, Julio Jones was top 4 in wide receivers in total yards. He had over 1,400 yards last year. Yes, only 3 touchdowns, and he dropped the Carolina Panthers game-winning touchdown. Yes, we know that. He had some drops last year, but when you get targeted as much as Julio Jones, you're going to have some drops. You look at Terrell Owens, he's way up there in drops. But guess what? He just went in the Hall of Fame this year. So you see what I'm saying? The fact of the matter is Julio is as good as Matt Ryan is. In the MVP season just a couple years ago, Julio was magnificent. We've seen top-notch Julio, and we've seen last year's Julio where he had the yards but just not the touchdowns. So I think it's a little combination of both. I do think he'll have close to 10 touchdowns. I'm not going to say 10. I'd say probably if I was a Vegas guy, I'd probably bet that under. But I think he'll be close. I think he has 8 or 9 touchdowns this year.
Oh, I'm going over. You know why? touchdowns. He's got Calvin Ridley on one side. He's got Sanu in the slot. He's got Freeman and Coleman. He's got Matt Ryan. He's got the big uglies up front. Matthews, who just got his money. Show me the money. Ben Garland, Brandon Fusco, Schrader. He's got Hooper at tight end. He absolutely is going to get his 10 plus. He just got a little bit of money, a little bit of motivation. Now his big motivation is to have a gigantic season so he can say, "Show me the money," and he's going to want the money, and he's going to get his 10. The Falcons will do very successful this year. He's got the parts around him. He definitely has a quarterback. I think that you'll see the OC have a much better year calling plays than when he struggled last year. I just think that year two under the OC there, I'm stuck on his name right now. I hate that. Golly. Anyway, Sarkisian, excuse me. I think the OC Sarkisian will have a much better year calling plays. I think the Falcons are going to emphasize the deep ball, and they're going to Julio Jones. They're not going to be able to double team him like they did last year because you've got the other Alabama product, Ridley. I just think he's going to have a gigantic year, and at the end of the year, he's going to say, "Show me the money."
Well, I hope you're right, man. I hope you're right. I hope he proves me wrong, but I can't trust Matt Ryan in the red zone over his career, and that's a career number. So, I mean, he is consistently worse in the red zone than any other part of the field. It seems like he throws interceptions more often than not, but he doesn't. He doesn't throw too many interceptions in the red zone. I have to credit him there. He takes care of the ball in the red zone, but he's just not as accurate with the ball. And that's where Julio Jones is the most effective. Yeah, he has the big plays. Yes, he opens up the field. But that's got to be done by Devontae Freeman and Coleman as well. So we got to rely on that run game to open up the play action because there are so many weapons. I think those weapons are going to actually go against Julio Jones this year because I think people are going to kind of be leaning towards Julio, forget about Ridley, forget about Hooper, all the guys you just mentioned. I'm not going to repeat them. But that offensive line, which is the highest paid in football, is going to give Matt Ryan enough time? That's the question. Because if Matt Ryan has enough time, I agree with you. I think he will. Matt Ryan has no excuse this year to not get to the Super Bowl. It's the second year of the offensive coordinator. He's got Sarkisian's play calls under his belt now. Now they've got some gel together. They've been working together for this is now a complete year. Now going into a second football season with him. And what did we do with the second year of Shanahan? Boom. Super Bowl. So we'll see what happens.
That's what I mean with Sark. With Sark, yeah, I think will highly improve, JJ.
Absolutely. So I'm with you. With Sarkisian being the second year, I think that they have a chance to win the Super Bowl. I really do. If you're a betting person, I would definitely say, hey, the Falcons, look at them. From top to bottom, they got a top 5 defense, possibly top 7 defense if you're arguing. And they can go with anybody. They can go up to Gillette Stadium and beat Tom Brady this year. I'd like to see this Thursday. I can't wait till that opening night game against the Eagles. I think the Falcons might rip the Eagles a new one in the opening night in the stadium.
You better leave Stephanie's Eagles alone, JJ. She's going to come after you now.
It might
go
happen.
Eagles.
Now, the Eagles are a great squad, but these games, the teams tend to come out bad if they're presenting a banner or a ring. They tend to come out bad. So we'll see. But I do think Julio Jones is under that 10 touchdown mark that we set only because of the weapons working against him. I think it's going to be more like Matt Ryan's MVP season where everybody had around 8 touchdowns. It seemed like it was like, hey, what did he throw to? Like 13 different receivers. He threw a touchdown pass to in that MVP season, maybe even more. So I think you're going to see a lot more of that this year. I think you're going to see a lot more running game with Freeman and Coleman interchanging, change of pace backs. I think you're going to see some screens, some evolved play calling from Sarkisian that you didn't see last year. I think the passing tree, the route running tree is going to be a lot better, and you'll see these receivers really starting to mold in this offense, and that's what's going to open up. So I'm going a little bit under, but I do think Julio Jones has a great year, and I fully expect Matt Ryan to have an MVP type season. He has the talent in front of him to do so, and he's had the time in the off season to put the work in. So we'll see what happens.
I'm glad we disagree. I'm so glad. Show me the money. He'll get his 10. They'll throw the deep ball. Sarkisian will call it quite a bit, or Matt Ryan will chuck it himself. There you go.
You forget you're using these weapons as well, but they're going to work against you eventually in the red zone, right?
We're going to find out.
Right? If we are in the court of law, do those extra weapons count against you in this case in the red zone? Could it possibly be somebody else that gets the ball besides Julio?
We're going to find out, my friend. That's why I'm glad we disagree. Stephanie, take it away.
Hey, yeah, let's. You guys always had that good debate there. We had Artie Lou was on, and we had Chuck on. Now we got another call from San Francisco. It is Cabby. You're on Primetime in the ATL. What's up? Good morning. Good evening.
Oh man, how you guys doing? Yeah, well, I do wake up at about 3 p.m., so it is my morning.
Okay, good.
I'm gonna go have some breakfast real quick here. You know what? I was listening to the whole show. You know what? I got all 4 topics. I can't even believe it. You guys are so diverse in what you're talking about. We're going to go one with your football. On our first show, we took Atlanta as the Super Bowl team. I think I mentioned that they were 3-point favorites over Philly on the road, and New England, obviously in their Super Bowl attempt, they played them to the hilt. And I think football is the only sport where it's more of a matter of lucky breaks than actual skill set. So as far as I'm concerned, the Atlanta Falcons are as good as they were against as good as New England winning the Super Bowl and as good as Philadelphia was, who ended up winning the Super Bowl. And the only indication is you guys are talking about the offense. There is nothing wrong with the offense. There's nothing you're going to adjust. There's nothing. Offense is a river flow. There's nothing that's going to be able to dam up this river. The trick in this game is defense. And your coach, God bless him, I forgot his name too. He's great Seattle. No, okay. Well, I'll remember in about a month or two. But the season hasn't started yet. The big thing that indicates how good Atlanta's going to be is watch Seattle Seahawks defense. Right now they're scrambling. They're nowhere near what they were when they were in the Super Bowl. They just got rid of Sherman. Pete Carroll's a fine coach, but he does not know defenses like your guy does. That's the key right there. The worse Seattle's defense is, that's how much better Atlanta is, because now this guy's coming into his 3rd and 4th year as a head coach. He's learning what he's doing, and your defense is only going to become the Seattle defense over the next few years. And like I said, that's the no-name group, the linebackers, the defensive backs. Defenses never get any credit, and they are my preseason pick for the Super Bowl. I think New Orleans and Carolina can give them a lot of trouble like they have the last 2 years. Carolina Super Bowl team, New Orleans, Drew Brees, no slouch. You guys only look bad because you're in such a bastard division. That's football. That's my in and out on that. I don't know.
Well,
okay,
sir,
so now I want to go to
you. Thank you so much for the call. Greatly appreciate it.
Oh, I was going to cover other topics. So you.
Yeah, we got to go on our next caller. I'm sorry about that.
Okay, go Braves, and go get a Baseball America from this month. They feature the Braves on the front cover. And my last statement is go A's. And how the hell is Chipper Jones and Mike Piazza in the Hall of Fame and Barry Bonds ain't? There's something wrong there. I'm going to investigate and call you next time.
Whoa. Keep this guy on. What are you
Cabby.
talking about? Chipper Jones? Chipper Jones is a better ball player than Barry Bonds overall. Oh, my goodness.
Sounds like a debate to me.
Oh, wow. This needs to be a debate topic. Oh, Cabby, we are talking about this later. Oh, boy.
Cabby, you got us started here.
Talking about Larry, man. All right, great call, man. Great call. Woo.
All right. Thanks, Cabby. It's Cabby from San Fran. You are listening to Primetime in the ATL. Again, catch a line while you can. Here's a number. You're going to give us a call, 347-205-9631, 347-205-9631. We got the 901 area code on. You're on Primetime in the ATL. What's up?
Oh, hey, this is Wayne in Memphis.
Hey,
Oh, what's up, Wayne?
Well, listen, I've already got to tell Todd that I participated in his little poll there on Twitter, and War Eagles, all I've got to say about that.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate you giving me the little PR on the Twitter question. The Twitter question was, to say it real briefly, is Georgia going to get to the playoff this season, yes or no? So let us know at CORDERTODD. Answer your question and give me a comment. I'll be glad to hear it.
But as far as the Falcons go, I think that Julio Jones is going to go over 10 touchdowns this year. The red zone issue is not going to be an issue because I think that they're going to have some running backs that will get in, or they won't end up in the red zone very often because of the long field they're going to stretch out. But I am going to say at a prediction for regular season Atlanta Falcons football, they're going to lose the first game of the season to the Eagles. And they're going to lose the last game of the regular season to Tampa Bay.
So they win the rest in between and go 14-2?
Yep.
Oh, right. If you get the 10 touchdowns.
You know I listen to you, Wayne. You know
I
I
told you,
listen to
JJ.
you, Wayne.
I told you he's going to get his 10 touchdowns. Thank you, Wayne, for making my case.
All right. Well, the reason they're going to get beat by the Buccaneers the last game of the season is because they're already going to be in the playoffs, and they're not going to play any of their starters for that game, and it's an away game.
Hey, Wayne, will Julio have 10 touchdowns before the last game of the regular season? Will he already have?
He's going to pass the 10 touchdown when they play Dallas in Atlanta, November 18th.
Huh. Whoa! Woo!
Midway
Like the
through the
prediction
season,
is
That's
bold.
a prediction right there.
All right. Well, we'll see how it turns out. Go Tigers and War Eagle. All right.
Thank you, Wayne.
Go Dogs.
Have a great day.
Go Dogs. And
All right.
Wayne, thanks for calling. We always appreciate it. I hope all is well with every caller, Wayne, especially you, my friend. You've been with us since the beginning. Thanks for calling, man.
Hey, Wayne, thank you. Thanks so much. We got another call. Want to take another call, guys? Got Benny on the line. Benny, you're in Primetime in the ATL. What's up?
Hey guys, always enjoy hearing stable shows below. I've been listening today and of course last week too, and you're doing a great job.
Thank you, Benny. What's up today?
Not much, man. I figured we'd talk some Falcons. I heard you guys talking about them, and obviously they just re-signed Ricardo Allen today, which is one of their safeties to lock up with Neal and Alford and Trufant, and they got their whole secondary locked up now, and they also made a priority of locking up.
Did we lose him? Did we lose you, Benny? Hey, but you know what? Benny's right. Benny's right. They did lock up their secondary today. That's going to make their defense much better. This is a team that's definitely an NFC contender, without a doubt. The only way they won't contend is, A, they turn the ball over, B, the injuries crop up, and we know those can crop up. All it takes is one big injury to one of their big-time players to change the season around. Thanks for calling in, Benny. Greatly appreciated. Stephanie, take it away.
All right, let's get another call in real quick before we get our next topic. And we're at area code 614 calling in on Primetime in the ATL. What's up?
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
Hey,
You're welcome, sir.
Thanks. Yeah, I want to talk about the Dogs. This is the first year going into the season now under the Kirby Smart era that there is going to be expectations. I wanted to get your take on the Dogs' quarterback situation. Obviously, Fromm's got a minor injury and is expected to be okay when the season starts. But when we get to the halfway point of the season, do you guys see Fromm still the starter in Athens?
Oh, that's one of our questions to one of our debate topics, but I'll answer it, and I'll let JJ answer it too. My answer is yes, without a doubt. You don't go 25-7, that's touchdowns and INTs, and take the team to the national title game and not become the starter. The only way Fromm doesn't start to me is if he gets injured, has a freak injury, or pressure question, you made a comment. There's always pressure at Georgia. Mark Richt went 151 and 54 and still got fired. So there's pressure every year at Georgia. If you don't perform, you're not around. Unfortunately, that's the way it is in college football.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
Thanks for taking my call.
No,
You're
man,
welcome.
great
JJ, go ahead and
call.
answer your side of it.
Yeah, go Dogs. I don't think there's a quarterback controversy at all. I really don't. I think Fromm will have the reins, but I do think you'll see a situation with like David Green and DJ Shockley in the early 2000s, where you'll see Fields go out there and get consecutive series or maybe a series here and there. I do think you'll see that strictly because Kirby Smart's going to play the best players. He's not Mark Richt. He's not going to give the guy to one guy. He's going to play the best players he possibly can. So I do think that will be the case. But we'll talk about more in depth later on. And go Dogs. Just continue listening, and you can call back in if we get back into you. We'd love to talk about it more when we talk about the Dogs.
All right, sounds good. Sounds good, guys. You want to take one more call or get to your next topic? Let's toss it up. What you want to do?
Let's take one more call, then we'll go to the next two.
All right, sounds good. We got who do we have here? Chris coming through. Actually, no, we have Denise from Coral Gables. She's listening. Hey, Denise, say hi to her. She's driving. It says Dirty Birds are dead. She's a big Vikings fan. What, guys?
Well, call in and debate that. And Stephanie, Jason from New Orleans said hi to you. Tell the boys that the Saints are going to kill the Falcons. Jason, you can call in too and debate that. Bring it on.
He would like to hear your voice say that one, Jason. And you too, Miss Denise.
The Saints are going to be a force to be reckoned with, though. We all know that. Mark Ingram, once he gets back from the suspension, will be fresh. And, you know, sometimes we've seen these suspensions work in good ways. So the Saints will be a force in the NFC South.
Well, the whole NFC, JJ, is a crapshoot. I think there's 6 or 7 teams that could go to the Super Bowl out of the NFC. That's how wide open I think it is.
The Vikings are up there, too, with the addition of quarterback. I think the Redskins made a plus at quarterback. I think the Redskins, and I mean, they got just as good a quarterback as Kirk Cousins, if not better. Alex Smith is a great guy. We'll see what happens. I'm excited to see what this football season brings. There's going to be a lot of new faces out there. John Gruden's back. It's going to be exciting to watch in the NFL this season.
All right, so let me ask you. Let's go with bring up the next topic here. We'll do that real quick, then go to the phones. I think we got Benny back. So let's do Falcons preseason prediction, guys. Will the Falcons win the NFC South, and if so, how many games will they win this season? TC.
Oh, I'm glad I got to go first because I already got the callers on my side, JJ. Here's the deal. I think the Falcons, when I look at that schedule, and I've looked at it a lot, they're going to win at least, I'll say they go 11-5 or 12-4. I'll say they go 12-4. I say they win the South by 1 game over the Saints, and I think they'll go deep in the playoffs. How deep, nobody knows. It depends on the injuries, but I say they win the South. They win 12 games. Their defense is the top 5. We talked about the offense earlier in the show. I think the key to the defense is the defensive line. It is in a bit of transition. They lost Poe. They lost Ed Rusher, Adrian Claiborne. But to me, they get younger and they get faster with Tad McKinley. Vic Beasley leading the NFL in sacks in 2016. He'll transition back to the edge full time. You look at Grady Jarrett. To me, he's just a star waiting to happen. And Benjamin Sennett, the draft pick, he's going to man the interior of that D-line. And then, of course, you got Deion Jones at the linebacker position, along with Devondre Campbell. I think this team, they'll win the division because of the defense just as much as the offense. And I think the front 4 is a big, vital key. I think you're going to see the Falcons blitz a little bit more this year, disguise their coverages a little bit more, and mix it up and send the linebackers on the edge. And once they get you there, then they can drop back and keep that defense guessing. And of course, they did sign the boys in the secondary. We mentioned that earlier. I think this is a team that's going to hook on all cylinders, and I think they'll be right there at the NFC at the end.
11-5 or 12-4? Say it.
12-4. 12-4. Show me the money, Julio says after they go 12-4.
I think the Saints are going to be 12-4, and I think the Falcons are going to be 13-3. I'll tell you what, I think the Falcons have the most complete roster. I do see 13 wins. I see maybe 14 wins. I see a lot of games that, hey, look, you're not going to see Des Bryant when the Cowboys play. Yeah, you're going to see Ezekiel Elliott, but what is this team going to be without Des Bryant as a leader on that team, who is vocal on that sidelines and let's face it, Cowboys fans love him. So no Des Bryant when you play the Cowboys. There's some easy week after the Eagles games. You get 2 division games, then bookended at the end of the season with two or three division games. So I like the way the schedule runs out. I really like the Saints game on the road, Thanksgiving night. That's one of the highlights of the year for me. I'm really excited about that game, and I think that's going to be the turning point of the season. I think that might be one of the losses there. I do agree with Wayne. I think the Falcons have the ability to blow the Eagles out, but I think they also could lose that game, so that's 2. And then let's face it, if they are that far ahead in the division, they might lose that last game to Tampa Bay. So I am with Wayne. I think a 13-3 season is something that's very plausible and doable for the Atlanta Falcons. If they get home field advantage, that has to be something that motivates you, because we saw how close the Minnesota Vikings came to playing in their home stadium last year. Will that motivate the Falcons to do the same thing? I think it should. I think that gets an extra game out of them. I think 13-3 for the Atlanta Falcons. I think Matt Ryan clicks on all cylinders. I think he uses his rookie weapon, Calvin Ridley. I'm thinking of his brother at Dogs Talk here coming up.
Yeah.
We'll
it's all right, man. Hey.
I'm getting revved up, but I do see Julio Jones in this offense with Steve Sarkisian clicking. I mean, I'm excited as heck for this team. I think 13-3 is a real possibility. Like I said, it's from here. It's all about doing now. The hype is
negative.
there.
Too many difficult road games, JJ. That's why I give them 4 losses. Too many difficult road games at Philly, at Pitt, at New Orleans, at Carolina. It's just too many difficult road games to me. That's why I think they lose at least 4 games. Just too many difficult road games. Now, I do think they'll beat the Eagles the first game of the year. It seems like that home team gets that opening game on Thursday night with all the hoopla, and they go in and they end up laying an egg. So I think the Falcons will take that game, but it's just too many difficult road games. That's why I say they'll at least lose at least 4 games, and they've got too many difficult home games too. You got New Orleans at home. You got the Giants are going to be much improved. Dallas is going to be a good football team. The Falcons go to Green Bay. I see that in here. Just too many difficult games. It's too hard in the NFL. That's why I think they lose at least a quarter of them, Stephanie.
All right, that sounds like it's going to be yet to be determined. We'd like to
We've
hear
been
that.
disagreeing a lot, and I can't wait to prove them wrong at the end of the year, like I always do.
We're going to keep a tally of all these debates, right?
Right. School's in, JJ.
Oh, boy.
There we
we'll
go.
See what happens when Wayne – because like I said, I'm coin flipping that first game. I'm not calling it. I'm thinking the Falcons can win that game, like I said. But I'm with Wayne. If the Falcons win that game, I'm a 14-2 guy, man. I mean,
man, if they go 14-2, awesome. I'll buy you a steak. How's that?
Well, hey, I'll expect that steak medium, perfectly cooked medium.
Hey, I'll even take you to Stony River in Roswell. How's that?
Let's step it up to Cabernet.
Oh.
Hey, they're not going 14-2, brother.
No, I said 13-3. That's what I set my mark on. I
Now,
said
you
13-3
said 14-2
now.
State. Don't try and trim it down on me.
All right, fine. 14-2 State, but I called 13-3 for the record. For the record, I called 13-3. For the State, I'm going 14-2.
Hey, Stephanie, tell us about your Eagles, as they say in the movie Invincible. You think they'll beat Atlanta the first game of the season?
Yes, sir. I don't know. I'm so split, but you know what? I was out the other day getting a little pizza, and up pulls a big pickup truck with a whole wrap of an Eagles logo on it, and I was just like, wow. I posted it elsewhere, but posted on our social media page so you guys could see it. There was a lot of talk about that one. This was an Atlanta guy too. He wasn't even from Philly, but he was an Eagles fan, indeed.
Well, you know,
Indeed.
Stephanie, Sal's on your team. He said he was listening. He said the Eagles are Eagles, baby, and nobody cares about the South teams. Well, that's because you're up north. You were down here, you care about it. So there we go.
Hey, Sal, what's up from Ben Salem? That's right outside of Philly. So I can understand that. So when I posted that picture, guys, you know, I had all kind of comments coming through, one way or the other. So we shall see with that first game. It's going to be an interesting one, that's for sure. That is absolutely for sure. Let's go ahead to the next topic. You guys want to move on to dogs?
Yep, let's do it.
Yeah, of course.
All right, go Dogs. Do you believe that there is a quarterback controversy at Georgia? We kind of touched on this earlier between Jake Fromm and freshman Justin Fields. That's the first part there. What do you think, JJ?
The answer is no. There is no quarterback controversy in Athens, Georgia. Here's why. Jake Fromm, from his first snap to his final touchdown pass, won you the Rose Bowl, the SEC championship game, and took you to one play away. They should have won that national title. We all watched it with our own eyes. There was a little couple calls there where I'm not going to say it, but Georgia blocked that punt, and that would have changed the ball game there. But hey, who knows? The game went the Tide's direction, but no, there's no quarterback controversy in Athens. Justin Fields is going to be a great quarterback. He's a 5-star recruit from Harrison, Georgia, committed to Georgia all the way. The kid's not scared to compete. He's been doing it since he was a young kid. He's a state champ. He's a winner through and through, and he wanted to be a Bulldog. And he took his talents to Athens, and he said, I'm going to take my talents to where I can compete, because if I take it anywhere else, I'll compete as well. And that's what you're getting. It's that competition mentality, and if Jake Fromm does slack off, Fields will be right there to take over, and there'll be no lack in that offense. But like I said earlier to the caller, I do think that you'll see Justin Fields play even week one. I think you'll see him play against Austin Peay, not only because Georgia will be winning a lot, but two, because I think you'll see him early in the game in maybe a wildcat package. Maybe you'll see him run a RPO, a run pass option play, something that you didn't traditionally see just a couple of years ago with Mark Richt. So I'm excited to see how that situation does play out, but absolutely not. No controversy in Athens.
JJ, you're right. There is no controversy right now. But let's say, for instance, from an early part of the season, gets hurt, just like last year's starting quarterback got hurt. And Fields comes in and plays lights out. What do you do then? Do you put Fromm back in, break up all the good chemistry you have with Fields, and play Fromm again? Right now, there's no controversy. There could be down the line if something happened to Fromm or if he didn't play well, and then Fields steps in and plays lights out. But right now, you're right. There's no controversy. But anything can happen in football. Injuries are a major part of the game, unfortunately. And when injury happens, everything else happens. And then it's the next guy has a chance to step in and take that job. The coaches aren't going to worry about the other person coming back from injury. They're worried about the individual and the injury, but the performance on the field is where their focus will be. And that would be the only way, to me, that Fromm would have, or Fields would have any chance of stepping in and playing, because you just mentioned earlier the job that Fromm did last year was tremendous. We all mentioned the stats earlier in the broadcast and et cetera. But when you have a five-star quarterback coming from this state, he did play in a different type of offense. So we'll see if Georgia adjusts any packages for him when he does come into a game this year, because he's going to play. He'll probably play when they're winning by a lot of points in a blowout situation, or maybe they put him in for a series or two, put him in the spread, change the offense a little bit for him, and see what he does. But you're right. If it's not broken, you surely don't need to try to fix it. And with Fromm running that pro-style offense, Georgia has a chance to do some very special things this year.
Yeah, and they will. I really think they will. I think Jake Fromm's the real deal. I think Justin Fields is the real deal. I think you see a lot of these players now. This is going to be Kirby's third consecutive year. He's got a number 1 recruiting class. You saw a number 3 recruiting class a couple of years ago. Those players are about to step on the field, and you're about to see the talent that Kirby can recruit. He recruits the type of player that Alabama wanted. He recruits the type of player that Ohio State wanted. He recruits the biggest, the baddest, and the best. And he's recruiting good kids as well. You look at Justin Fields, he's an A-plus athlete. He's also an A-plus student, and he's great in the community. So Kirby Smart's doing it all down there, up there in Athens, I should say. And I do think Fromm will have this job throughout this season. And I'll say why. One last topic to nail in my thing. Georgia's schedule is just too laid back for BTC for Fields to have a chance to take over. I don't see Fromm playing bad enough to where Georgia loses a game, except for maybe South Carolina and LSU. And I do think Georgia's good enough to win both of those games. So there's a lot of sports writers out there that are saying Georgia will go 12-0 before they face the SEC West champ. So I'll throw it back to UTC for final thoughts, and then we'll go from there.
Well, every sports writer in town is pick these kids, and they're still kids to go 12-0. A lot of pressure. Yes, the schedule they say is easier, but I'll tell you what, Florida will be improved this season. Auburn's going to be a tough game at home. LSU's a tough game at LSU especially. At South Carolina, Missouri's improved this year. I think Tennessee will be an improved team this year. There's Georgia Tech. To me, a lot of folks are picking Georgia Tech as a sleeper in the ACC. So there's a lot of landmines out there where Georgia could easily lose a game or two. And we'll see how it works out. But back to your the topic, Fromm is definitely the quarterback, and there is no controversy at this time. Stephanie?
All right, let's just follow up a little quick dogs thing here. Just a little preseason type prediction, guys. Again, will Georgia make the college football playoff, and will 2 SEC teams make it to the playoffs? 2-part question there. Let's go with TC.
Well, you know what? This is all preseason, so our predictions could definitely change in a month from now. We're allowed to change them because this is for fun. The first question, will Georgia make the college football playoff? Golly, I'm going to say no. The reason I say no is because I think they'll lose to Alabama in the Southeastern Conference Championship game, and I do not think 2 SEC teams will get in, because Georgia, with their last loss in the conference championship game, will most likely eliminate them. I think you'll have a Big Ten team in there for sure, an ACC team in there, and I think you'll have a Big 12 team in there, potentially a Pac-12 team. So I say no, Georgia doesn't get to the playoff. They lose to Alabama in the SEC title game. And 2, there are not 2 SEC teams in the college playoff. I think last year was pretty rare air, JJ.
No, I disagree with you. I think Georgia can make the playoffs. I really do. Even if they lose that last game to Alabama, if it's an epic matchup like it was in the national championship game, and those are clearly the 2 best teams in the country, I do think that Georgia might have a shot at going to the playoffs. I really do. I think the committee would see that and understand that Georgia was just there. They'd probably have their eye open to it. So it wouldn't surprise me if that happens. But it also wouldn't surprise me if Georgia comes out of here being in the back burner right now as just going 12-0 and losing to Alabama no matter what. I think that's a disagreement right there. I think Georgia actually has the depth to hang with Alabama this year and beat them. They should have done it last year. They can do it this year. And I think they're going to put the money where their mouth is and win this SEC this year outright against Alabama. And maybe we're asking Alabama if they're getting in.
Hey, you could be right. This is just an early preseason prediction. I had to go against you. I kind of knew your answer from the beginning. So we disagreed a lot tonight, which is better for the show anyway.
But it's great. But you know what the thing is? You know, we can change because sports change so often. And when your prediction's wrong, you got to go with another prediction because your prediction was wrong. So that's why we can change, folks. And ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you what right now. This Dogs team is deep. They're fast. They're mean. And they can score points. So watch out. And like I said, TC, that schedule is simple. And don't get me riled up on Auburn because the Dogs are, 10-3 in the last 13 games against Auburn. So I'm okay with Auburn right now.
Well, like you said, losing Roquan Smith to me is a gigantic loss on defense. That kid was probably my favorite player in the country last year. Watching him play football, it's too bad the Heisman Trophy is left to the quarterbacks and the running backs because to me, Roquan Smith was just as valuable to Georgia as Charles Woodson was to Michigan back in '97 when Michigan won it all and he got the Heisman Trophy. That is a huge loss to me, Roquan Smith. That guy is going to be a stud at the next level, barring he stays healthy.
Barring he signs with the Chicago Bears. I mean, it was a tough loss, but Georgia's at that point where they're just reloading. They don't have to rebuild. So I really think this pushing up right to the end here, I'll wrap it up with it will be Georgia versus Alabama in the SEC championship in a matter of a coin flip of who wins that game. Stephanie, wrap us up and get us out of here.
All right, we're going to head on out of here. This is Prime Time in the ATL. It's Sports Talk the way you like it. And Stephanie Stallworth, we've got TC, JJ, Mark Mancini holding us down there at the Stables Network. Again, follow us on Twitter and all social media at ATL Prime Sports, at ATL Prime Sports. Follow TC at Corder Todd, at CORDERTODD. He's got that poll up. JJ, follow him at JJ Get You One, at JJGETCHUONE, Get You One. And Mark Mancini at Mancini Sports, MANCINI SPORTS. You can follow me at ATL Traffic Lady. ATL Traffic Lady, and the show is at ATL Prime Sports. It's Prime Time in the ATL. Guys, got any final thoughts?
I sure do, Stephanie. I'll leave it with this. My favorite player on the Braves, Ozzie Albies, he has a chance to become one of 5 Braves to get 84 or more extra base hits in a season. If he does it, he'll enjoy 4 Braves. All are in the Hall of Fame. Hank Aaron, Chipper Jones, Eddie Matthews, and Hugh Duffy back in 1894. Ozzie Albies, to me, is a special player.
Very special player, very special team. My final thoughts for the night is everybody be kind to each other. Enjoy college football season. And fans, calm down. Keep it real. And always, get you one.
Get you one. All right, so we're going to wrap things up here. Again, thanks for listening. It's Prime Time in ATL. And we'll be back next Monday night from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And we're always here for you as we roll on through on social media at ATL Prime Sports. So call us up next week. We'll be glad to talk with you. So we're just going to wind it up here. Everyone's got your social medias out. We'll talk to you all week long. Be back for you next Monday night with TC, JJ, Mark Mancini holding it down the Stables Network. I'm Stephanie Stallworth. And this is Prime Time in the ATL. Sports talk the way you like it. JJ, get you one.
Get you one.
Prime time.